Hi, I'm Brian Birch, and this is a video about IFRS 17. I'd like to make this relevant to a number of people, management and staff in an insurance company that may report under IFRS 17, recruiters who will be hiring staff for that company, for contractors and also for consultants. IFRS 17 will replace IFRS 4, and companies that are already reporting under IFRS 4 are very likely to be reporting under IFRS 17. There are a variety of other ways some companies will report, such as US GAAP, and sometimes IFRS 17 will sit alongside other reporting systems such as Solvency II. So there's a little bit of question around who will report under IFRS 17, and there are various guidelines that will help companies understand what they will have to report under in the future. Some of the features of IFRS 17 could be that profits may be spread over a number of years for long tail business, essentially normally life business. Profits from companies and results from companies may be more easily comparable across different companies and indeed across different industries, so there could be some transparency within that. Profits may be stored for release in later years where the insurance service is deemed to be more relevant to future years. There are some clarifications around methodology and how actuaries and other people will come up with the results, and there's a whole question in general about whether or not these benefits are worth the cost. IFRS 17 will come into effect in January 2021. Now that may seem quite a long time away, but if a company needs to deal with reporting a year's comparison figures in 2020, then it's got 2019 and 2018, which we're already in, to plan, to design, to get a budget for, to implement and test changes in actuarial processes, accounting processes, possibly IT infrastructure, and probably IT software, or perhaps build IT software and create it. So there could be a huge amount to do that across not just one entity, but across potentially many entities and an entire group globally. IFRS 17 will replace IFRS 4, and it will have most impact on long tail business where the business is over several years, so most likely life business. It may happen alongside other methods such as Chinese reporting method, UK GAAP, US GAAP, and the challenge could be to understand how these various reporting methodologies or multi-GAAP general accepted accounting principles, how these may be reported in the same accounting period, and how the process and how the working day timetable will work for that. So if a company is producing one set of results, is it in some sense comparable, or can it be reconciled to another set of results? They can't tell a different story, even though the basis of accounting may be quite different. They should be able to reasonably explain the difference. So how big is the scope for IFRS 17? It will affect a certain number of products, and there may be other products that aren't affected. There may be investment products that are excluded. It will be relevant to parts of the company globally, potentially. It will affect systems and processes. It's important to understand the range of regulatory and accounting principles, multi-GAAP methods that will be needed, and how to produce those all in one approach. Many people could be in some way affected by IFRS 17. There's the board, the CFO who may need to present the results. There will be senior management who will need to coordinate and understand and troubleshoot a lot of the issues that may come up. There'll be project managers and business analysts, there'll be actuaries, there'll be accountants, there'll be IT infrastructure providers, IT software providers, or developers of that. And all of those need to understand the new way of dealing with things, and other people who need to understand results may need to adjust their thinking to deal with the new way of externally reporting. It may affect internal remuneration, it may affect discussions with underwriters. There are a lot of different conversations that may be changed due to the new way of thinking about insurance results. We're not going to think so much about premium anymore, but more a revenue that is essentially allocated to a particular year, and the profits can be set aside for future recognition in future years. So the products and what's the data that's used, the products and how they're processed and recognized, and how the revenue and profit is calculated can be very, very different under IFRS 17. That needs to be understood, and also the reconciliation and explanation compared to any other reporting that needs to be done. Another aspect is how one staffs or resources their IFRS 17 project. Do you want to use staff? Do you have those that are available to come onto an IFRS 17 project? Are they going to try to do it on the side of their desk? Another way is to get contractors in. I'm an independent contractor. And another way is to get consulting firms. There are different implications for how long one will retain these staff for, and what will the staff do after the IFRS 17 project. What are the obligations of training and pension costs, etc. with those? Can you get contractors in at shorter notice with the right skills? And consulting firms, what is the right time to get those in? What benefits would one want from consulting firms? I see IFRS 17, like I saw Solvency 2, as a hybrid challenge, where there's one section where it's people and communications, understanding what needs to go on, explaining it to other people, and getting buy-in for the budget, for people's time, to get decisions made, and to get common understanding so a project can get underway. Lots and lots of technical as a second section, areas that need to be understood, what IT infrastructure is needed, what actuarial processes and systems are needed, accounting systems and processes, data, what data needs to be stored where. So there's a load of technical things, including the product and including any regulatory or IFRS 17 updates that need to be understood. And a third section is project and processes. Once you know what needs to be done, defining that sufficiently and understanding the different areas of the project to do that and the processes involved. Some of the communication challenges may be around I don't get it, not understanding why one would want to change, have to change the way IFRS 17 explains the insurance revenue and profits, and getting the right people on board where they can understand possibly the old way of doing things and the new way, and understand that in a context where they can talk to people, understand the technical, and get things done as well. The IFRS 17 project cuts across many different departments, so it's quite feasible that people will need to be able to understand some of the actuary is saying, the accountant, the IT person, the system itself, and what senior management want, and how to communicate all of that. That's quite a challenge when there's quite a technical load to understand with IFRS 17. This can happen in the context of an interest by the CFO, which if it's not already there, will be there in the future, as the CFO will need to explain the IFRS 17 results to stakeholders and shareholders in the future, and may need to explain a different earnings pattern and profit pattern. And that's very important to be able to understand that and get comfort from that. There's a project and planning aspect of this where one would need to understand the deliverables, the overall objectives, and the scope of the project, the dependencies, the risks, and even is this going to be linked to other projects such as finance transformation or other regulatory change. There are technical challenges in the actuarial space, talking about the discount rate, talking about the earnings patterns. In the accounting space, one would need to be able to report it accurately, have the right accounts, reconcile different accounts, and be able to bring the information to the general ledger and be able to bridge or explain the IFRS 17 view of the world, the accounting world and results with the Solvency 2 world, or other ways of understanding the accounting and the reporting. There's a software aspect of all this and an IT architecture, and a data aspect. What data needs to be processed in what way, and how to make that work and make the IT work fast enough, and make sure that the right information will come out and investigations can happen if needed into the data and the accounting and the actuarial information. And essentially avoid some mistakes. That's not a very positive way of saying it, but there's certain things you don't want to go wrong, and you don't want anything unclear or unanswered, or the stakeholders may not be confident that the IFRS 17 project is going well. You need to not make don't get anything correct. It's embarrassing. What can I say? And make sure that you can reconcile and explain the different numbers, as I've said, to whatever different accounting approach that the stakeholders, that the management may be interested in, the regulator, the internal management, or Solvency II reporting, be able to reconcile these to be able to have a confident reporting approach to IFRS 17. If one delays the start of IFRS 17, you may find it harder to get the right people at the right time as soon as you want to, and that may lead to more costs that you need to get in, more expensive person or a team, or you have less options to evaluate things, and possibly if you skip some of the analysis to make sure that things are right for your products and your company, then costly mistakes could be made. As I mentioned, it's important to get the right mix of people that are right for your culture and the right for your project, between staff, between contractors and consultants. I use these videos as a way of explaining what I do, which is insurance accounting and finance change. It used to be involved with Solvency II, now it's much more about IFRS 17. And if you're a recruiter or a contractor or somebody who is dealing with IFRS 17, I'd be interested in talking to you and linking and perhaps having a coffee at some point. I'm interested in what's going on in the industry and what are the challenges, and hearing about those and being able to help solve some of those problems.